They know it's not healthy. The other thing is too, if you're a narcissist and you believe that you can control the world, overthinking is another pathway. Yeah. and Glick's in the background going, what's he saying? What's he saying? Is he talking about me? What is he saying?
Of course we're talking about Glick. He's not here.
Yeah. Everybody talks about me because I'm the greatest.
Speaking of narcissists.
I think of him as Mr. Humble. That's mine.
I was thinking when because I heard the overthinking, that's why I came up. I was like, I can relate to this topic.
Yeah,
I was on the stream previously. I told everybody I'm in law enforcement. So when I'm off of work, I'm always overthinking. But I'm overthinking like, looking for where's the nearest exit. Overthinking. Okay, this always waiting for something to happen. Way overthinking to where sometimes it makes me uncomfortable. Like going to the mall. My brain is just, I'm thinking about this. If something happens, we're going to go here, what we're going to do. That's my way of overthinking.
I like to call that proactive paranoia.
Probably is.
Yeah, but for you, it makes sense though. That's survival mode, right?
Yeah.
That's you looking out, making sure you're going to make it home in one piece.
Yep.
So I don't necessarily think that's overthinking. I think that's an active mind trying to, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean. Like mob bosses do the same thing. A mob boss will go into a restaurant and want to sit in a certain spot because he feels he's got the greatest chance of survival. Nothing's going to come from behind him. If I'm here, my line of sight's here. And then I guarantee you they want to know where the exits are. So I'm not saying you're a mob boss, by the way.
Oh, no. Maybe.
Although you could pass off as one for sure.
Okay. Yeah, definitely not a mob boss. But I think it's hard to get out of that overthinking on my side. It's hard to get out of that mindset,
I think I do that too. Well, I just kind of come back into it, but I do that when I'm out and about and in public. I always pay attention to my surroundings. I always know where the exits are, the in and outs and stuff like that. And I definitely try to position myself in a way to where my back isn't towards the crowd or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's. I think it just. I don't know. That's just natural for me. I've always been like that. But yeah, and just because I walk away, don't mean I can't hear you guys, Connor.
What? I didn't say it. I didn't say anything other than you're a giant vagina. Just walking. Anyway.
So can we address a couple of points? It's on topic. Okay, and I'm not trying to hijack this. I'm just trying to be helpful. So what they say, there's somebody that I know who's been a guest on my show before, wrote an article on this, and they basically said, number one is become aware of your thoughts. Overthinking is kind of like a bad habit. If you're in overthinking a long time, then you're probably on default that way. And I think if you can, be aware and say to yourself midstream going, okay, I'm doing it again. It's like the same thing as, okay, why am I smoking? Okay, why am I having my 10th beer? Why am I punching the wall? It's, why am I gorging myself? Thinking is a form of addiction. It really is. Do you think that's true though, guys? Are you aware of your thoughts when you're doing this? And do you try to stop yourself?
For me now, I'm more aware of it, and I do try to control it a little bit better. But as I've said multiple times on this show, one thing that I do conscientiously every day is wake up and try to put the negative away and be more positive, rather than let the negative wear at me. So nowadays, yeah, I'm more aware of it. In the past, no, definitely not aware of the the voices in my head, so to say. They would definitely get the best of me more times than I would like to admit. But to presently, I'm more aware of it, and I'm able to control it a little bit better where it doesn't consume me and take over and ruin a day for me.
Yeah.
Not always. I still have my days where, we all have bad days from time to time.
It definitely takes a moment to stop. It's almost, it's kind of like when you have an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I don't know if any of you have experience with this, but it's almost like overthinking on this magnitude that you can't stop it. I understand what Sin City is saying, is she can't stop it. It's not something that she feels like she has control over. It's tough. It takes active thinking, and especially if you're not in a fully panicked, I guess you're not having like a physiological response to it. If you give yourself a second to think about what you're overthinking about and actively try and change your thinking rather than thinking about all of the bad things that can go wrong, all of this, that, and the other, and try and live in the moment. Because like Chaka said, I mean, I have the same issue. I go out to restaurants. We went to the zoo a little while ago, and my wife was like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm just going to try and be here and be present and not worry about all the shit that might happen or could happen, and just focus on this. And it was really, really, really difficult, but it took a lot of active thinking from me to say, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. Don't worry about everybody else. Stop thinking about this, that, and the other. Think about, oh, my kids are having fun. Enjoy the moment that you're in. Oh, I'm holding my wife's hand. We're having one-on-one time, instead of, hey, why isn't that guy swinging his arms? Hey, what's in his waistband? Hey, where is the nearest exit? How do I go down this path and then get out? How far are we from the next, yada, yada, yada. Can you get out from this part of the zoo? How far is it? All that. So it takes a level of active thinking to stop overthinking.
Can I'm kind of going through this graph here, and you can tell me to go away or
Shut up, Michael.
Yeah. But for me, I'm a lot older than you guys. So I've been where you are, and I know what that's like to be caught in your mind and worrying. I used to worry all the time about what people thought. I would have never come on here in my 30s. There's no way, because it would be like, well, someone will see me this way. And I never thought about the good end of it now, where I'm like, what benefit is there to this? So us being here, a bunch of, older dudes talking about, our feelings and situations, it opens dialogue for other people. It may not happen on air, but it might happen in somebody's house. Right. So if you're here and you are going, Glick is the greatest thing since sliced bread, Michael's an idiot, you were probably the consensus, and people were going, my God, Connor is way brighter than I ever thought. But everybody will connect with the different, everybody will connect with like a different vibration. So everyone is a little strange. But what we're doing right now is we're brainstorming solutions, and we're sharing commonalities. And that is, I think, the way we're going to heal this world, is when we find common ground amongst very unique, different individuals. Is there any truth in that?
I mean, uncomfortable topics require uncomfortable conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck, I don't want to talk about this. No part of me wants to have another conversation about all the things that I overthink about, or all of my problems. But I mean, there's a reason we have Monday night as mental health show. I mean, we have to talk about it, and that's why we made it an open forum, is so that we could get more minds than just Chris and I or Glick and I up here talking about the struggles that we're going through. And whether it's overthinking, or if it's something else, or if it's depression or anxiety. I mean, it takes a group, it takes a powwow to talk about, to get the conversation going. And like you said, Michael, whether that's here or in somebody who's listening's house later on in the day, that's off air.
When I was younger, and I don't know if you guys have gone through this, I would overthink so much I'd be frozen. I couldn't make a decision. I would be just swirling in thoughts to the point where I'd blow a day in overthinking situations. What I do now, and I'll do self-talk. I don't know if you guys do this. I'll go, okay, that's a step towards where I want to be. That's the first step. Okay, Michael, well done. I'm saying this not out loud on the street,
Right.
but I'm saying this in my head. Okay, that'll get me one step closer to where I want to be. Where before I would be like, well, you know, if I do this, then people will judge me, and then this person will be upset, and nothing ever got done.
Mm-hmm.
Where now it's almost like trusting that the universe will put you where you need to be with the individuals you need to be, and the pieces will fall into place. And Glick has been talking about with his music that, you know, all of a sudden, because he's in the flow or the gap, all these people now are reaching out to him. He's reaching out to other people. And what's happening is he's now went down a pathway he didn't even know existed. And in that, he's finding, I think, new levels of perspective, and maybe even this thing called joy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you were overthinking, you were stuck in that loop. Is we call it you're stuck in your OODA loop. Have you ever heard of OODA loop? What OODA? It's like a it means observe, orient, decide, and act. OODA loop. That's what they used back in like for military strategies. And you're sitting there and you're just going around your OODA loop. That's what we call it.
Spent 9 years in the military, never heard of OODA.
Yeah, I've never heard of that before. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start using that. What's up, Untrackable? I'm gonna have to remember that and start using that. No, 100%, Michael. I'm definitely finding joy. I'm finding joy in everything I'm doing right now when it comes to these shows, and that was kind of why the conversation that Connor and I had about making this show an open panel, and it is the one show of the week that is solely an invite only for men. It is for men and men only, because we want to open up those doorways for a conversation and hear other men's point of view, and like be, as I said Saturday night, you know, have our small platform with do our part in this change to help reverse the stigma on men's mental health. And the more men that see others rather than just Connor and myself coming up here and chatting about things, the more they're going to be willing to come up here with us and take part in the conversation as well, or share what, you know, open up a little bit more than what they normally would.
How long have you guys been doing these Monday streams?
Oh, 6, 7 months.
6, 7 months. Yeah,
oh, wow.
like that.
I put a graph up about the OODA loop. If you want to just show it. There it is there.
Yeah, OODA loop.
OODA loop. I never heard of it. Yeah, and it's what? Act, observe, decide, orient?
Observe,
yeah, it's observe, orient, decide, and act. And sometimes when people are overthinking, they just get observe, they orient, and they can't decide. Their OODA loop, they're just going around and around and around until they finally act.
I think one should be there, shit my pants.
I had to check myself earlier. Observe, I smell something. Orient, where is it? Here. Decide, yep, that's me. Act, go change.
Yep.
Yeah. Untrackable said, I heard of a mental mission essential tasking list. I've never heard of that, but we've kind of talked about that, you know, setting goals, not necessarily swinging for the fences, but like, you know, like I said, one of my things was, and Mike might be having the conversation is in his head. I literally stood in front of a mirror a couple years back and had an open verbal conversation with myself in the mirror to get to where to kind of accept accountability, not let the past have control of me anymore. Stop living in the past and actively moving forward and getting out of the mindset that I was in. Yeah. which has been, for me personally, holy crap, it's been a complete 180 from where I was a couple of years ago. Because like I said earlier, I do it, and it's not easy, trust me, because there's some days where I wake up and as the kids and Nikki tell me, I'm a grumpy bear. And I just wake up and I'm a grumpy bear for no reason. And I grump around the house, and then I have to catch myself and go, okay, hey, snap back, brother. What are you doing? What's in your head today? And I have to have that conversation with myself to get back on track and stop whatever it is that's got me in that funk. I have to make that conscious decision to sort it out in my head, conversate about it, and take a walk, take a drive, lollyfuck on my laptop and do podcast stuff so I can distract myself and try to loop back around and figure out what's going on. So
how does everybody in the room deal with that when you wake up as a nasty curmudgeon, or you find yourself lower than low?
I hide all my guns so I don't kill anybody.
Jesus, Connor.
I gotta say, I internalize a lot of emotions, and replace them with handling like what's right in front of me.
Yep.
So like, I'm married. I got a child, one child, and I get brought a bunch of bullshit from just about everybody that I know. But I got to put my emotions aside and decide, is this a superficial thing? Are you crying for no reason? Do you want to go someplace that we both don't have to go? And then, I might give some little attitudey pushback. But if somebody says, hey, like we got injuries, or there's something important that needs to be done with the house so it doesn't burn down, or we need a new roof or something like that, I just I click off the emotions, and I just become a listener, because whatever I'm being told, I'm going to have to go investigate for myself. So I need all the notes before I go up there and get my own notes. And then we have to go down the road of solving the problem. But if you come to me with some superficial shit, I might bark at you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm very bad about managing stress. Once, if I, like Michael said, when I wake up in that mood, just that shithead, like I don't know why, but I'm everybody's on my shit list today. I'm terrible about managing stress, and those are the days where I try and avoid people so that I don't make myself look like an ass.
Connor, I haven't met Happy, so I'm just interesting. Oh. Yeah, and then I'll just stop. But I have a question that you said something, and it sounded like you went the long way around this, but I think you have the ability intuitively to know when to just listen. Not to blanket, but if you've been married or you have a significant other, there's times when you're better off to just be quiet and listen. Right? And let, I call it the storm passing. I let that, and it's sometimes very quiet before the storm, but you can tell, you look at them and go, oh no, here we come. And I just wait. And sometimes I'll wait till the next day. I might even wait till the next week and go, do you remember, you were a little over emotional then? But sometimes you can't address situations in the midst of it because you are not going to get results. Does anybody else agree with that?
It's 100% true. It's 100% true. Especially when you're talking about it, or when that stress level is high, you don't make good decisions.
Yeah.
It's the same,
lately, I think something that I guess my wife taught me, because this has been something recent. And I've been married 20 years. When I wake up and I have those moments of stress and everybody's pissing me off, and like don't even walk in my direction, just one of those days. Now, instead of holding it all in like I usually do, like I've always done, I actually talk, and eventually I can find out, okay, that's what was bothering me just from talking to her, which is, it's a little thing, but it's new to me, and it's actually been helping me out.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like training for anything.
Yeah.
When you go through a training process, there is no failure. There's just try. But when you're actually in the game, you could lose this argument. You could get emotional and just be wrong. There's things that, and it could be so simple, especially when you talk about relationships. Of course, you want to win, but at the same time, you might not be prepared for whatever's going on in that discussion with those snap-ups. So yeah, you guys are right. Like talking this stuff out with people that you're not and that's not involved in it, and you say, hey, well, this is how I felt like this. You're not talking to you is not going to make them understand.
Yeah.
It could help you understand that they don't understand, and then that's when you can be in the midst of saying what you're going to say and not lose your shit. You know what I mean?
Trying to explain to him what the issue. I feel you, yeah.
It's like talking to yourself, but it's better because you guys don't know what's in my head, but you guys can talk to me when I talk to you, rather than me just talking to myself and always being right, and then that's when things go south.
Yeah.
Yep. That's where that, I mean, as silly as it sounds, that positive self-talk can be a huge fucking deal. Sometimes when we can't find the positives for ourselves, and you can't get around other people who can turn that dark to the light for you, everything just piles on, and that overthinking gets worse, and then you get deeper and deeper in that hole. And sometimes you need, I mean, some friends or people that you don't know or don't know your situation to take what you see as a dark situation or an overthinking situation and turn it into something that's way simpler and a little bit brighter.
Yep.
Connor, can I make a suggestion? Just it's a small one.
Send it, Miguel.
And it's for everybody who's out there listening as well. If you feel that what you're going to say has absolutely no value, and the people you're saying it to are not going to listen anyways, get your ass up and go. Get out of that room. Get out of that situation. You are not going to represent yourself at the best situation. These people don't care. Don't overshare at work. Don't overshare at work. These people a lot of times are competing for the things that you need, the warm, dry, fed. But if it's your loved ones, there's times I think you need to know when to get up and leave because you love them and you don't want to put huge holes in the foundation of what it's taken you 20 years to build, or 2 or 5 years. And these people are the only people who actually give two shits about you. They may not be in the best situation. I find the females, I have 3 girls. They're all older. They're way brighter than I'll ever be. So I can't mind wrestle them. They'll kill me. It's not going to, especially if they tag team, I'm done. And I've tried doing that. And you know what I do? I just listen or I leave. And sometimes just leaving is far better than anything you could have ever said. That's a better and stronger statement. Anybody agree with any of these things I said or disagree? Thank you.
I agree. But sometimes leaving and walking away will cause more of an issue for me personally.
Yeah. Leaving can cause problems too.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah,
we were talking. No, you were talking. I was listening.
It's a matter of.
Go ahead.
It's a matter of picking your battles and knowing when to walk away, because there's sometimes where, you know, on the rare occasion Nikki and I get into it, it's like, all right, I just need to walk away for a few minutes. And if I walk away, she generally, and she does the same. I had to learn, if she walks away, I can't, because I'm like, no, we're going to finish having this conversation. I've had to learn, let her go have a few minutes. And same with her. If I step away, you know, let me have a few minutes, let me collect my thoughts. But, you know, to go back on that circle, you know, toxic people in your life leads to a toxic life. And I learned that lesson. My circle has gotten very small. I've cut family out. Not that I don't love them. I still love them, but I had to cut them out because they were not leading. They were not doing anything good for my mental health. So I've actually cut them out and walked away from them. And I've cut friends out. My circle, as I said, has gotten very small. But in that happening, my life has gotten a lot better. And my new circle has gotten a lot better, and it's growing every day. And it's growing with people that have the same mindset as me, who, you know, they're looking to make their lives better and be in a good situation, which I think when you surround yourself with people that have similar mindset, you all grow together because you can all kind of learn from each other. And there's not that, oh, I got to one up this guy because he's doing better than me, or, you know, I can't believe this is happening, when, you know, instead it's weird to me too when you see new people that, you know, you didn't know before, and they're like, hey man, I caught the show. Great show last night. Oh, hey, I didn't know you even listened. Also, you know, or you know, whatever. But no, yeah, definitely getting rid of those toxic people in your life. I've had this conversation with a mutual friend of ours multiple times, and where it goes, I don't know, but we all got to make our own decisions.
Glick,
So-
would you agree that time is the greatest asset that we have, and we have to manipulate time to our favor, and we can't squander it on people, places, or things that really don't add value to our life? And overthinking is one of the greatest robbers of our sanity. Donika is a spiritual leader. You're going to get some of this if you have me in the room, guys. Sorry.
Nice.
Donika, I love you. Thank you for being here. We would love to have you up. You would be a wonderful asset to this. It's every Monday on this wonderful network. And the man with even though he believes he's a fox, he's really like a big teddy bear.
Yeah, as we go down the road, and Connor and I were talking about this the other day, about the potential of having guests on the show, guest speakers that are actually in the world of mental therapy and spirituality and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, man, let's reach out, and, you know, we can line up guests, or we can just do the open forum like we do. Yeah, no, time is our most valuable thing, and I had to learn that. And about maybe about 2 years ago, I put a thing out on social media talking about people who put money and whatnot over time. And, you know, you can make all the money back in the world that you lose, but the one thing you can never get back is time.
Oh yeah.
I would give, you know, the time that I have with the people I care about means more than me. I mean, we could be sitting on the patio having a couple beers. You know, Nikki and the kids and I could be sitting in the house. We don't have to go on big, fancy, elaborate vacations or do all the, just to spend time with each other and enjoy each other's company. I think is worth more than any amount of money I'll ever have in the checking account. Now, I mean, if I had $500 million in the bank account, my life wouldn't be bad. I'll just saying.
There'd be a lot more spending time.
Right.
I don't think you'd be here though, buddy, if you had 500 million, would you?
I think you're wrong.
Oh yeah, I could hit the lottery tomorrow, and I would still do every one of these shows every night of the week.
Oh yeah,
and I would love doing it.
How would you manage your ego though if you had 500 million? Think about that.
He doesn't do it now.
I already have an ego like I have $500 million. What are you talking about?
So if I want to share this on Twitter, the link, can I do that? And can you give me the link in the private chat here so I can put it on my Twitter?
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Please, Shaman, what's good?
What's going on, Shaman?
Chaka, you were saying Saturday night, part of your job or something you do, you do a lot of stuff that revolves around.
Yeah, so I work in the I work in the mental health crisis bed. I'm a sergeant in the prisons. So in my section is the mental health crisis bed. So I've been dealing a lot with, and I've been doing that for going on 10 years now in that particular spot. So I've learned a lot with when it comes to mental health crisis, and then also peer support. I'm part of a peer support program for other, officers when they're going through some kind of crisis. We're there to help them, and I've gotten some training on that. It's pretty helpful. It helped me a lot, so trying to help others too.
No, I agree. I think, and as I've said, Connor and I are not experts by any means.
Hell no.
I speak on a lot of personal experiences, and how I've dealt, and how, Connor actually, and I know a lot of people go to therapy, and that's great if it works for you. I can't do therapy. I can't do it because usually 4 or 5 sessions in, next thing you know, they're getting their prescription tablet out and they're like, you should take, and I'm like, no, I just want to talk to you. You don't know me outside of here. So you're a complete 100% non-biased person. I can talk to you. You can help me out, but I don't want your drugs at the end of the day. And that was the biggest thing, one of the biggest things that pushed me to want to do this particular show. And the fact that Connor, surprisingly, I'll say, was eager to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm in, because I just want somebody to talk to, or people to talk to that are like-minded, or even people that have gone through it, and maybe we can help somebody down the road, let them know, hey, it's not all sunshine and roses. Life is a sumbitch if you let it get to you, but it's not all bad either. It can be good if you want it to be good.
Click. I have a huge spiritual network, and I would love to, with your permission, start advertising on my network this show every Monday, and basically just promote it on the other shows that I do, saying, look, if you want to come up and talk to individuals who are not professionals, because people don't want to talk to professionals. They want to talk to people who are in the trenches with them. They don't want someone who's coming from, the all-seeing, all-knowing spot. I think that's why if you do have people who are therapists who were maybe on the street or had drug addictions, they have first-hand experiences and maybe a little bit more empathy. And you're right. Everything can't be solved with drugs. Now, I'm warning you, if you let me do this, you're going to get some seriously woo-woo people and some very woo-woo.
I will say this to anybody listening to anybody is I will never, unless you're doing it in a negative light. You can promote any of our shows. You can promote any show in particular. I will never have a care as long as it's not in a negative light. If I come across something in a negative light, then I got to go back to being a monster and I got to put somebody in their place. But anybody can promote any of our shows. Yeah. Anybody can promote any of our shows anytime. I will be very grateful and very thankful for it. As a matter of fact, I will never tell somebody, no, how dare you promote my show? I want to grow. Please promote my show. Please tell all your friends. We want to grow. I've said it a million times. I want to quit my job.
You got to be careful of what you let in your life, though, right?
Yeah.
Like yes, it's nice to grow, but if you grow and lose who you are, and you don't even represent what you started when you started it. Like, I love this show because you and Connor are close, and you have banter. There's great chemistry, and I think if people see that, they feel safe. And if you give them a landing spot where they can feel safe, see, there we go. I'm getting too mushy here, and you guys have to let's reel this back. Let's reel this back. Bring the macho.
Really.
Reel it in.
Am I not allowed to be weird on our own show? Come on.
Is that a pillow? No, that's not a pillow. Okay, keep going.
I've told people a million times. Hey, Connor can attest to this. I am who I am on this picture box that you see me on. If you see me in real life, I'm the same exact person. Blaze and I met for the first time last month in person. After we did our show, and after we got done at the gig, we went back and chit-chatted for a few hours. Anybody that knows me will tell you I'm the same person in real life as you see on the internet. What you get is what you get, man. I don't sugarcoat shit. I've never tried to be fake. I'm in a spot in my life where I'm loving life right now, and I'm enjoying myself. and it took me a long time to get here. Don't get me wrong. I was a miserable SOB for a good chunk of my life. In the last like 3 years, I've finally figured out how to enjoy life and love life and enjoy, all the small blessings I have. So I'm definitely a much better person today than I was a couple years ago, but I'm still the same person. I don't pretend to be anything and then I don't think $1 billion could change that, because I'm still going to be me. I mean, the only thing that's going to change from the shows is the scenery.
You'll be on a yacht.
Oh, you'll see.
I might be on a yacht.
Glick with marble floors and a grand piano behind him.
Earlier, Michael, you question about when things get real tough, like what do you do to kind of get out of the zone? Like, another thing is music. Music always helps me out. And I was going to ask Glick, is that one of the reasons why you're doing the music review show? Does that have something to do with it?
Music has always been my outlet. I love music. I love all genres of music. When I was having bad days, or if I was in a funk or I was at my lowest, music was always there for me. It was the only thing that was ever there for me. It wasn't a person. It wasn't a part. It was music. I've said it a million times. If I'm having a bad day, I like to go for drives. And for whatever reason, I've discovered that Jason Aldean is my damn spirit animal.
Oh,
this
yeah,
dude, like I love every album he's put out. It feels, he has so many songs that I can personally relate to, because it's like I'm listening to him and it's like, is he in my head as he writes these songs? Because I've lived this. A couple years back, I've talked about it here on this show. I was in a bad way, and I went for a drive one day and was just driving, and wound up ending up about 3 hours away from home. I had no idea where I was, and it got late, and there was this, it was a small little town, and there's a tiny little bed and breakfast that I was like, well, it's kind of late. I don't even know where I'm at. I had no idea where I was. I was just driving.
yeah.
And I got a room for the night, and it was owned by this older couple, and sat down and chatted with them before I went to bed and everything. Got up the next morning, had breakfast with them, chatted with them for an hour or two. And I don't know what it was, but like, Mike said, I was put in the right place at the right time. And apparently these two people, they needed to pop up into my life, and I needed to meet them. And the next day I hit the road. I had to hit the old Google Maps to figure out where I was and figure out how to get home. But I was rejuvenated. I was in a much better place. But yeah, music has always been my go-to, my happy place. And I do listen to all genres, all eras. I can't say that I have a favorite. I think I shock a lot of people with some of my knowledge, especially when it comes to like hip hop and old school hip hop, because obviously I'm a country bumpkin from the Midwest, and I know
he's a big Vanilla Ice fan.
A huge Vanilla Ice.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, I think I did. I always wanted to do something, somehow be involved in the music industry. Unfortunately, I can't play an instrument to save my life, and I can't carry a tune in a bucket. So, so to be feel like I'm somewhat a part of something that's been so important to me for so much of my life. Yeah, that show since I've started it holds a very special spot in my heart. Monday and Tuesdays are probably my two favorite nights of the week that we do.
And the music is on Mondays or Tuesdays?
Music is on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I went back and I saw a couple of them. I was like, that's cool, man.
Yeah, and we just hang out. Like there's no pressure involved. For the artist, it's not the boring run of it. We just hang out and shoot the shit, and we get to learn a little bit about them. And I generally try to play a little bit of their music along with the show. Take a break here and there and play one or two of their songs. Just let people get to know them and get to know a little bit about them and whatnot. And I can't say that I've had a bad guest so far. I've been very lucky in that aspect. Everybody's been pretty cool. So,
people over in my chat, you'll see them in yours. They're talking about Boom. It's a crypto. So if you're wondering, you'll have crypto
yeah.
people come over to.
Oh yeah, I was confused.
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound like a Monday night show. Kind of, it sounds like a Saturday.
Leave my Boom out of this. I don't know you like that, JR.
Click's the only one who's allowed to touch my bone. All right. It's turning into this.
No. No, I think it's this is I got to be honest, this is exactly kind of what I was hoping for on Monday nights. Mondays are a little bit more low key. It's probably the most serious show on the network, but it's nice starting to see other guys pop up in here and add their 2 cents on, and even if it's even if we get off topic, you better not start to rain.
In every life, some rain shall fall.
Yeah, not right now. I got too many electronics out here on the porch.
Yeah. Do you like being out on the porch? Does that make you feel closer to nature, or is it just more? God. Is it more sane out there for you?
I love being outside.
Home.
Yeah, I'm closer to home. The wilderness is where I grew up with my other Sasquatch family.
Okay.
Who's raised by wolves?
No, I do. I love being outside. It's peaceful. Like I said, if I was rich and the scenery would change, it would change. My background would be the woods or the forest.
Yeah. Is your alter ego your other channel called Jack Daniels? Because I'm noticing you're promoting it behind you there.
No, that's Nikki's sign she's got out here on the porch.
I can see now. Jack Daniels, if you would like to be part of our mental health show, please send us samples.
I'm telling you. How should you deal with your problems? I deal with it with Tennessee whiskey.
Jack Daniels.
As somebody who has gone down that road before, I promise you will never find the answer to your problems at the end of a bottle. I promise you that.
I have one question. Is Charlie Daniels related to Jack?
I don't think so.
What?
Charlie Daniels, the fiddler?
Nope, never heard.
You never heard of him? Oh my God, You got to look it up.
Devil went down to Georgia?
You got it, brother.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, you got me.
So that's all you had. That's all you had to say was the name of the song.
Yeah, Charlie Daniels.
Charlie
Daniels. You guys say musicians' names, and it goes whoosh. You say the name of a song, and I might be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're good.
I've probably been to 1,000 concerts in my lifetime.
I've been to like 3
of all kinds of music. I've seen country shows that I was forced to go, and I loved it. I was amazed at how much I liked. I've been to shows that I thought I'd like, and when the guy came out with on track pants on that had bleach stains, like, what the hell did I just pay for? Now the guy was a guitar virtuoso, but what was really sad was 2 years later he was dead. And I'm wondering if he didn't have some mental health issues. But I'd seen him 2 years earlier, and it was the best concert I think I've ever seen in my life. So I think I hit him on a bad day.
It's kind of wild when you well, it's not really, in all honesty, the amount of musicians and songwriters and whatnot that have or live with severe mental health issues.
Well, the road is hard. Like, you all have very different work. I can't imagine working in a prison. So I have insane, what's the word? Admiration for what you do. The closest I'd ever want to be is when you watch those shows, the networks, and you see the same, and it's always the same situation. The person is drunk, high or drunk. They have to put them in the chair, they restrain them, and then 5 hours later they're like, oh, that's the real person. Who was the other person? You deal with people at their worst, and then people wonder why law enforcement especially have such a rough time in life, because they're basically cleaning up the messes that drugs and alcohol have made in society. Is there any truth in that, or am I way offline?
Cleaning up the messes. I don't know if we're cleaning up the messes. That would be more, I guess, police officers. Like I would say they're cleaning up the messes as far as in the prisons. And what you were saying, that's more jail. Like when they come in drunk and high and they let them sleep it off stuff. That's the jail. So the prison is more of a long term. The crimes already. The judge already sent them to prison. They've done their jail time and everything. Now they got to go to prison. It's so cleaning up would no. I would just say I guess you could say I guess we're cleaning up a little bit, but never thought about it like that.
But you are in a sense, and I don't mean like sobriety type of thing. I'm talking about helping people rebuild their lives. Like if you out of say 100 people that you deal with, let's say 5 of those become productive citizens and they come up to you 10 years later and go, you have no idea the impact you had on me. I know you were hard on me at times, but I always felt like you had my back. So thank you. And there are not many people that could do the role that you do and still have the empathy, compassion piece.
I've had that happen once. I actually seen an individual that did prison time and then knew who I was and was doing good and said thank you. That's all. It was in Walmart of all places.
Oh wow.
It feels good, but you know what? You got to remember too. A lot of these people don't have the capacity to tell you, but what you do makes an impact. Right, and it's an opportunity to make. It's like the show tonight. Even though it doesn't seem like much, there might be an individual 3 months from now comes upon this, watches it, and that's like the clarity they needed in that moment. We've all had that, where we turn on a program, or if we're religious and we go and watch a sermon and we go, that was for me, because I'm lost and I need that right now. Or you pick up a book, or if you're into music and there's an album that comes out and a song, and it's the one thing that keeps you going. Glick is having a party every night.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know what's going on with Glick. Oh,
I think it started raining. It might have started raining.
We lost Untrackable. That's cool though.
I love Untrackable, but he is very quick to disappear.
That's good.
No, it started raining, so I had to relocate. And yes, I have Nikki and 2 young ladies here in the house, and they're watching horror movies, and so you know how that goes.
Yeah, I think we're
there is never a dull moment in my house. That is for sure. But so no, I want to. Michael, you and Chaka were talking about, having an impact on people, and hey, much love, Untrackable. We appreciate you being here, brother. You're always welcome. It's crazy when we started this show. It was, I think initially it was more for us, but we obviously wanted to have an impact on other people as well. But the amount of positivity and like messages that we've got from women about the show was kind of overwhelming at first, because I didn't expect a whole lot of women to watch or listen or pay much attention to us. But they love that we're doing this show. There's a couple ladies that I know that I've known for several years that that told their husbands to tune in, and it's been helping them, helping their husbands deal with things. So it's like, all right, so we doing something here, right? Maybe a little unexpected, but hey, yeah, husbands, listen to Connor and I. We're not as dumb as we look and sound.
That's pretty cool.
But what's scary is the world is changing. When we were little, right? You stuffed your feelings down. Be a man, right? Don't share that you're going through pain or you're afraid. Real men don't do that. And then we wonder why we have people who overdrink, oversmoke, get violent, because it's like anything. If you have a reservoir of pain and you keep filling that, something is going to break. It's like when the levee breaks, right?
Well, that's the way. That's the way boys are raised to be a man, is to hold in their emotions, bottle it all in. Never. If you're sad, you better not be sad. Better not shed a tear. If not to show your emotion. That's
No, I
world
said
we
it.
live in.
I said it a long time ago. I said I was taking back the phrase "man up." Because when we were growing up, we were always told, "Man up, stop being a bitch, stop being a pussy, man up." The actual definition of manning up is to be brave, be courageous, show courage, and not be afraid to back down from a challenge. So I said I want to say it on here, but I'm not saying it in a negative light. I'm putting a positive spin on it, because as men, in order for us to show our feelings and be vulnerable and to actually talk about things in a way, we have to man up. So instead of going back on, oh, I fell and scraped my knee and my dad told me to man up, stop being a little girl. Now manning up is a good thing, because there's a reason why there's such a stigma on men's mental health and why it's not taken seriously. And that, I'll call a spade at the end of the day. Men's mental health is not taken seriously, and it has not been taken seriously for many years. And now we have a problem.
I think it's changing, though. I do. We're seeing more and more of these programs all over the world. And that's one of the benefits of, having YouTube, which is now the biggest outlet for entertainment in the world. It's number one. It's higher numbers than Netflix, higher numbers than Prime or Disney. Here's the thing, and I want people to digest this, and you guys can disagree or agree. My philosophy is fully feel it. So if you're sad, feel it, but don't play it like an old record. Like, don't play it over and over again. Because when you're young, you'll play that song that triggers you, right? And you're crying, and you're, the girl left you, or, I didn't get that promotion, or why am I so damn skinny? I don't have that problem anymore. But here is the thing. I suggest to all the men out there, if you're sad, cry it out. Get it out. Have it go. And I remember there was one time I started crying, and I had the cry of my life, like the kind of cry you have when you're 3 years old. That kind of, and you can't get. And why'd you do that? That kind of over. And I swear I let go of something I've been holding on for 30 years, and I felt lighter. I felt lighter than I'd ever felt, and I went, "Wow, thank you." And I even kind of said to the universe, "Thank you for giving me the strength to address that and let it go," because I've been holding it for so long. And one of my old sayings that I used to say to my buddies was, there is a reason why you're attracted to young women. And it's not because it is, the looks and the freshness. I said, they're not damaged. They're not carrying baggage. If we're carrying baggage, you can't be with someone else who's carrying baggage. It's very difficult. So if you're in superficial relationships where it has to be about you, and you're a narcissist, which most of my friends are, on some level, all of us are on some level, they were always drawn to young women. But then they were like, but I have nothing in common. I have, besides the parts fit, I have nothing after that event to really talk to them about. We have no commonalities. And I went, you're right. Life is messy. It isn't about the deed. The deed is fun. It is. It's wonderful. And you can, do that until things fall off. But if you want to have a rich relationship, first have that with yourself. Do the work you need to do within yourself before you enter other people into it. And especially if you're going to have children. Oh my God. So I see these guys, and I don't know if you know this, but Al Pacino has decided to have a child. at 88.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
And
That's
you know
wild.
what? And you know what that is? That's your last stamp. That's your was like, I was here. This is my seed. I can't come back, but here is. And you've got even Elon Musk who's saying he wants to have like 20 kids. Yeah.
I gotta shout out MK. He said he's commented. I went through some life changing life changes about 10 years ago and haven't looked back. Glad I started taking how I felt seriously. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. That's cool.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, I have to wrap up. I have to pop off here. I got to deal with my kids. I got 3 littles to take care of. So I'm going to leave you with something real quick. Time is our most valuable non-renewable resource. Period. Doesn't come back. You don't get more of it. Once your time's up, it's fucking gone. And this too shall pass. Whatever you're going through, it's gonna pass. I don't care what it is. Worry about the time that you have right now and spending that with whatever makes you happy in life, because you don't get more time. Stop worrying about this storm that's coming through. But I gotta peace out, gentlemen. It was great being on here. Glick, I'll catch up with you later. Michael, it was great to talk to you again, man. Chaka, good to meet you, dude.
Nice to meet you.
We
Man.
will see you guys later.
Connor, I feel like you just dropped the mic. And
I was gonna say he just dropped the mic. No.
It was kind of like, yo, bitches.
Oh, I'm out. No, that was the other thing. I think that was one of the final breaking points for me when I decided to kind of spin everything around, was the fact that I'm not going to feel bad for putting, in a way, and in some aspects, putting myself first and not allowing people to walk all over me anymore. And a lot of people didn't necessarily agree with that life change and that decision I made. But like I said, I'm definitely in the best place I've ever been in most of my life, the last couple of years.
Are you talking
making changes?
family?
And
are you talking family?
Family, friends.
That's the hardest.
I've cut off family members. I mean, like I said earlier, I love them to death. They're family, but look, at the end of the day, you're not benefiting me in any way good. Like you're leading to stress, and you're causing, these bad days, as I like to call them, the bad days. So it's like, I gotta walk away, and I'm putting myself first. Yeah. And I don't, part of me feels bad, but a bigger part of me doesn't feel bad at all, because, like I said, for the first time in my life, mentally, I'm in a healthier place. And
I notice it.
I
notice it as someone who's observed you for a while, and you can tell that we're getting a more authentic you than maybe, because we all play roles. I don't care who you are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We all play roles in some form or fashion. I think a lot of us don't even really know ourselves too well, and we have to reacquaint ourselves. I
had to do a lot of reacquainting.
The really low points in my life, I would zone out. I would drink. I'd smoke. I'd do whatever I had to do to get through. It wasn't every day, but for me, I was what you would call an extremist. So I would, and I'm talking 30 years ago. If I started the bottle was gone. If I started, having,
I see what you're saying.
If I had the weed, I would have more clarity, and I would not drink as much. It was almost like I found that if it was light, there was a neighbor that had where he grew his own. And I used to call it pot light, and it was wonderful. It was very light, mellow buzz. And then every once in a while, my friends would give me stuff, and I'm like, what the hell? I just risked my life. What was on that? That is not weed. What is that? Like I remember one time, and I must have been laced with speed or something, but I could feel every hair on my arm, and I might have been 20. And from that point on, I was like, wake up, man. You can end up dead. Don't be an idiot. Don't just trust what they're giving you. is safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was smoking it, they were looking at me like going, okay, when's he going to fall over? And I didn't. And I'd always had kind of a resistance to drugs because I remember I went under once for my tonsils coming out. And the doctor went, he should be under. Why is he talking to us? This is nuts. Like, she goes, look, it's in his vein. He goes, he's been talking to us for 5 minutes. Shut him up. Put him more. Oh my God. I woke up the next day. I was still high. I was gone. And I was like, oh my Lord. I think I've just got a test ride of what it could be like if I was out of control.
Yeah.
If I was out of control, and I don't think I ever puked as much as I did after that because they gave me too much. I went toxic, I think.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I didn't feel anything. And then when I did come down, I was like, oh, this isn't good. Yeah.
Shaman down here says he had an issue getting knocked out for his getting his wisdom teeth pulled.
Yeah. See, that was, yeah. My tonsils, your tonsils are supposed to be no bigger than a small peanut, right? Mine were like a walnut. So I had huge holes here. And then when they sewed me up, that 2 nights later, I said to my wife at the time, I said, if I don't go in, I'm not going to make it. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I'm bleeding. Like there's something wrong with me. And I was a big guy then. I was probably about 40 pounds heavier than I am now. And the doctor came in and he went, anybody else would have probably died. And he said, what do you mean? He said, you're such a big guy. You had enough blood to keep you going. Weren't you getting dizzy? And I was like, oh, yeah. I said, but it was almost like a euphoric high. I wasn't sure what was going on. If I was still. So they showed me what was going on, and it was literally shooting blood.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And they brought this guy in the middle of the night. He looked at me with the most pissed off look. It was like 3:00 in the morning. I was like, yeah, and he did this process where he literally burnt my skin inside my throat and it meshed it. And in 20 minutes, I had no bleeding, had no nothing. I was fine. But if I had slept, I would have not woken up. And that's the knowing. And I think we're left here with near death experiences several times. And some people believe that we have 3 or 4 times in our life that we can choose to exit.
Oh, wow.
Right? We can choose to exit, or we can fight and decide to go on a better day. And I think, you know, if there is a higher power, if you believe in that, I wasn't done doing what I need to do. And Glick, I really feel like you're finally in this staircase of life. You're starting to enter the steps with confidence and even a little bit of grace. You want to write that down?
Oh no, no, I know, I 100% agree with you, man. I really do. I'm definitely a different mindset, driven a little bit differently. You know, before a minor hiccup or a little setback would in my world was major. Now it's like, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine. You know, like. It's like old batteries were taken out and new batteries were put in, and it was just like, wow. So this is what it's like to be, be happy. I've heard people talk about this. This is kind of fun. This is cool. I could dig this, you know. So hopefully I got a good another 40-ish years left in me. So the last 40 years where I spent a miserable prick. I can get a good 40 years of not being a miserable prick in me. Yeah. So
in July this year, I had a close call. I actually had a near death experience. I was out and that after that kind of changed my mindset for a little while. I've been spending a lot more time with the family and doing a lot more positive things, but it scared me. We were at the beach. It was just me, my wife, and my youngest son, just went for the beach for the day. I had a nosebleed. 10 o'clock that morning, just a nosebleed. Wasn't no big deal. And then we started going to the beach, and then I stopped and get gas halfway there. So this is a couple hours later, and I'm like, man, my nose is still bleeding. Wasn't bad. I was leaning my head back, not even making a fuss about it because I thought it would stop. Make it down to the beach, got all the stuff out. The kids playing with a soccer ball. Me and the wife were just chilling on the beach, and then my nose would not stop bleeding. Didn't say anything this whole time. We're at the beach all day. I don't want to ruin the day because of the nosebleed, but it kept going down my throat, and it kept going all day at the beach. And I'm telling my wife, like, okay, my nose is not stopping. It hasn't stopped bleeding all day. And then so I'm driving home. This is all day at the beach, and then driving home and telling her, hey, my nose is still bleeding. It would stop for a second. And
Do you know how lucky you are you didn't black out?
It's coming. So yeah, my nose never stopped bleeding, and I came home and it stopped for a little bit. So I was like, all right, babe, I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm gonna lay down. So we're laying down now, and my stomach is full of blood at this moment. I can feel it. So I'm laying down, and I'm stubborn as hell. Not now, but I've been going to the doctor every month since. But I was so stubborn to go to the doctor. I was like, I ain't going. I'll go in the morning. So I wake up in the morning because I thought I had to go pee, but it was because the blood. You know when you drink a lot of water and you feel it whooshing around in your stomach? Well, that was blood. I felt that, but it was all blood. So I went to go pee, and then I remember I just vomited. Blah. It was like black vomit because blood is poison in your body. And then I blacked out. I sounded like the volume literally just went down. Like everything went whoa. And then boom, I hit the floor. Wow. And so I got up because I didn't want to freak. I came to, didn't want to freak my wife out. And I was like, I still got to pee. My wife was in the other room.
Can you explain? Because a lot of people want to know what you meant. And I know exactly what you mean just before you black out. Explain in just slower and more detail, because this happens to everybody from time to time. Go for it.
Okay, so right before, and this made me realize that I've almost blacked out before, but this was the first time I ever blacked out. All the volume, it sounded like someone just turned down the volume of the world. Everything just went really low. And then once it got to where I couldn't hear it, I was out. So I've had previous moments like that. So previously I've almost passed out before and didn't know what that was. But still felt like I had to pee. But I threw up again. Black, it looked like Venom, the cartoon Venom. And then I passed out again. Yeah, the symbiote. I threw up a symbiote all in my toilet. And then passed out again, but I almost went through my shower. I don't know what they make shower glass out of, but I think it's something from NASA because it didn't break. It just bounced off it, and I'm not a little guy. But that's when my wife saw me, and then she called 911. So I had to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor via ambulance, and when I got there, they said I had a burst blood vessel in the back of my nose, and I was going to need a blood transfusion. And so what they did, they cauterized the blood vessel, which is like it was a long Q-tip with a little some kind of silver liquid on it. He said, "Oh, this might burn a little bit." Stuck it in my nose, and it burned a lot of bit. My whole face was on fire. But they cauterized the wound, put me on liquids on an IV, and then they said that I was really lucky. I almost poisoned myself, blood poisoning. Can't drink your own blood apparently, and I've been just doing that all day. That's why I passed out, and that was scary. Scary.
Look at where we've gone, just from us vibing, right, and sharing, and stupidity on both behalves. I probably could have went earlier, but I just always had a knowing that I was dancing on the edge.
No.
And I've had friends tell me that throughout my life. They said, Michael, you always were crazy when you were younger, but you always kind of knew when you were at the edge to move back. And he said, and I've had friends in my life that are no longer here because they weren't aware of the edge and thought they were in the matrix and thought they would just bounce up off the ground, but that didn't happen. I've had that experience that you're talking about, and I think Lick has had it too, is what it's like a switch goes off. Like I've had it from alcohol poisoning where I drank too much. And you know what's funny? I never passed out while I was drinking. It was always when I went to sleep and I'd get up to go to the bathroom, and then I would take my first 3 or 4 steps and I would know. And I would literally go in my head, I am effed. And I would be And I've hit some really low points in my life because I didn't listen to myself or didn't have the value. Now, that doesn't happen now. I barely drink. I don't smoke anymore. But back then, that was me coping.
Mm.
That was me not dealing with my emotions or not being accountable of the things I was doing. I was escaping.
Mm.
And through my escaping,
Been there.
luckily, I've been lucky enough that I was young, pretty healthy in some ways. But as you get older, Greg, you'll have more clarity of knowing and loving yourself and knowing your value. And I think once you know your value, you will draw people around you who also know their value. And I
Mm.
in this, do you guys agree with that in the room or?
Oh, I agree.
Oh no,
100%.
100%. I mean that goes back to what I was saying earlier. You know, I've started getting rid of the toxic people in my life, and it's funny because you know my circle got real small real quick.
Mm.
But in the last almost year, I'm building up a new circle, and the people that are in my new circle are absolutely amazing. You know, I'm making friendships that I never thought in a million years that I would be making by doing this music show. I mean, guys that I talk to,
Yeah.
you know, I always bring up the Southern Outlaws band. They have become a new family to me. I mean, in just a short time period, they've become like a new family to me. Those guys and their manager, I call her Mama Sandy. Uh, they're like a new family. They're amazing, um, and I'm grateful for it. And I'm grateful for the circle that I'm finding because it reflects on me too. Because it's like I don't want to go back to being that miserable prick. Look at all these good things I
Mhm.
got going on right
Yeah.
now. Look at all these amazing people around me that you know are happy to see what we're doing and enjoy what we're doing here and even outside of it, you know, it's just like, yeah, I mean, shoot, I look back on where I was 5 years ago compared to where I was today, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's
But
I
you
don't
have a
even
good
recognize
partner
that
though.
person.
You have a
Oh
good
yeah.
partner in crime now too, right? Like
Oh yeah.
a good woman, right? I really believe that certain individuals need to have a strong woman to keep them on the straight and narrow. And then there are other individuals. I have friends that are much better off not having anybody but themselves to navigate because they can't do relationships, at least not healthy
Yeah.
No,
ones.
I've said it before on here. A good partner will make a world of difference. And somebody said in recent years, bad relationships. It's amazing what a good relationship and a healthy relationship can do for you mentally, especially when you got somebody that's in your corner and pushes you to do better and be better, not only in life but like you know to chase after. As silly as it may sound to some people, this is my dream. Broadcasting
Mhm.
and podcasting, it's been my dream for years, and I've had
Yeah,
people when I was younger and I had opportunities tell me it was stupid and
Yeah.
tell me that I was foolish to think about doing it because I had a family to take care of and everything else, and that I should take other opportunities. And
yeah.
she's like, "Well, go do your show. Leave me alone. Go do your show."
But Glick,
But
have you ever heard of that? There's a gentleman. His name is Bashar, and this guy that channels, supposedly spirits, demons, whatever you want to call it, from the Palladian star system. And he basically said, and I've never forgot it. He said, chase your greatest excitement. What is something that you are willing to do, even if you didn't get paid? That is then your life force. That's the juice of your life. Now, for some people, it's woodworking. Other people, it's creating music. Other people, it's reading books. Some people, it's exercise. Some people, it's a ministry, or we have those who are philosophers who like to think and dive into history. And I've had friends like that. And then you have characters like us three here, and we love to entertain. And through entertaining, that is what fires us up. And if we can do something that betterments, makes mankind a little bit better, makes people think outside the box, then I always feel like, okay, I didn't waste today.
Yeah.
And then when you're gone and I'm gone and all of us are gone in this room, there will be archives out there that they can watch us. And it's funny because I used to, a long time ago, foster children. And they'll always say to me in messages, when I miss you, I just watch you.
Oh,
Nice.
wow. That's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
No, as I said, I definitely love what we do here and what we're building here. I probably get the most enjoyment out of it, out of all the guys. I'll be honest with you. That might be why I continue to add more and more to my plate. But the ultimate goal is to be able to create the shows, and then this show eventually I'm walking away from. It'll be Connor's show. Wednesday nights when the right people are put into the right spot, I'll probably walk away from Wednesdays.
yeah.
And knowing that it's in good hands, and I don't have to watch and be like, oh, geez, what are these idiots doing? I have to go save the show. You know what I mean? But I'll still be doing other shows. It's just I want to expand and allow other people to step up and let me step down. Because I do put a lot of time and energy into what we do here, but it doesn't come across as a lot of work to me because I enjoy it. It's what I love to do. So, and that's the other thing. Doing these broadcasts has brought a lot of peace of mind to me and a lot of enjoyment back into my life that wasn't there prior.
And congrats, didn't you just hit some sort of milestone for the podcast listens?
I think we hit like 30,000 listens or views or something like that on
That's awesome.
on YouTube. I think we're on the platforms. I think on like Spotify and stuff. I think we're right at or just over 40,000 downloads and replays.
Oh, that's cool.
So, which is like I didn't even think 100 people would listen to it.
Yeah.
But and that's the other cool thing because we got a lot of truckers and truckers hold a soft spot in my heart. My dad's a trucker. Some of my friends are truckers, but there's a lot of truckers that listen to us and they love it because, especially the Saturday, I'm like, I don't know how you guys listen to the full 6-hour show, and they're like, I'll be going from point A to point B, and the show will be playing, and it doesn't even feel like 6 hours are gone by, and I'm at my load or my unload, and the show's just wrapping up, and then I'm ready to listen to the next show.
That's cool.
And they're like, we love it, man. It helps, and I'm like, hey. If it helps you pass the time on them roads, because I know them roads can be a lonely road for a trucker, man. So if we're able to help you pass the time and pass the miles, more power to you. That's awesome. But yeah, no, I definitely, when we get our little monthly updates and stuff like that, I'm shocked at the growth and the continued growth every month. Every month is better than the last month, and it's just like, okay, maybe we are doing something all right here.
So
cool.
we had.
All right, JR. Have a good night, man.
Have a good night, JR.
We had 32 eyeballs from Twitter from mine and 11 from our dear friend here. I love this, hanging out with Nonsensical Network, and I'm really interested in knowing, sir, what is the driving force for you? I know for Glick and I. We're similar in some ways and very different in the other, and I think that's part of the reason why this works well. Is we are. I feel like you're in the middle of Glick and me, like that spectrum. That doesn't sound right. Go ahead.
driving force, as in, why do I do YouTube?
What is your passion to want to do this? Like, because this is an odd event to do this. The average person, they would rather put a nail gun through their foot than do this.
Yeah. I think it's just being around. Okay, originally, being in crypto, I can't talk about crypto to regular people that live in the real world. They're gonna be like, what are you talking about? So I had to go to YouTube and eventually I was joining the chats and stuff like that, and then created a YouTube channel. Now a bunch of like-minded people, we know we can talk crypto to each other, and that's how it started. But then branching out, I mean, been joining. We've been doing a lot of like open panels on Fridays, or just hanging out doing shows like that, and then just building the community. Just being around the community it's a big thing for me now. Just hanging out with, and the community's growing, and networking and meeting new people. It's just great. And Lazy down here says, I like the interaction, but I like to entertain also. He has his shows on Fridays. That's where I usually go hang out.
So what is, if we were to give this man a plug, what is this show about?
Anything and everything. The Lazy Shaman Show. This is where it originally, like the crypto YouTubers, people real deep into crypto and everything, always did crypto on their YouTube. Then they started doing their show where it was just, we can just go be ourselves and go over there and just be ourselves. And Shaman is, has some really good. He's very smart when it comes to like, what you would call it, like the stuff you were mentioning that about what's his name, Bashar.
Yes,
he's into things like that. And then Lazy Jedi brings his little what he brings to the table. It's a good mix of people there. It's just hanging out.
I want, and I get messages from my guides, and I'm going to share this with Glick because my guides are basically telling me to tell him the story. Do you like Nickelback at all?
I do. I love
Okay.
Nickelback. I know they get made fun of a lot.
You need to watch their latest biography. When they started, they were driving around for gas money. They had 10 to 12 people come to the show. They were touring all over Canada. They could barely feed themselves. They had a part of their show that was like, they would put a bucket and go, all right, we have $4. We have toast. Okay, now we have bacon. Look at that. We're up to bacon. Oh, now we have eggs for everybody. Oh, look at this. We might even be able to buy a beer each. Thank you. They went from that to filling stadiums to having groupies in their vans. They all have very different lives. Some of them were raising their families, and they weren't allowed to go anywhere near the women. Their wives would have killed them. But the thing that I want you to watch it for is they had unshakable faith that it was going to work out. They didn't know how. They didn't see any kind of hope for about literally 8 years, but just kept moving forward. And then they became an overnight success after 10 years. And Roadrunner Records took them on, which was a metal label, which I think has Slipknot. And everybody on that label was like, what the hell are they doing on this label? Yeah. And the owners of the label said, we will not have a label if it isn't for them. I have the money I have now to support your projects because they are selling so well. So you need to shut up.
Yeah, shut your mouth.
But they would do shows at the beginning, and people would literally boo them, going, "This isn't metal. What the hell? This is bubblegum, corporate rock." And then when they got big, they basically became the headliner. But that wasn't until I think 98 or 2000, around that time. And in 1 week, they went from literally not being known to having 2 #1 hits. And it was the Spider-Man movie. Hero, I think, is the song. And everything changed.
Yeah.
Overnight. And, the lack of... See, for me, I don't know if you know why I do it. I do it because it has been a need within me since I was little to help. So I think I would have been a minister or a criminal. And that is the that is the yin and yang of me, right? The extremist within me. And I sense within all of us in this room, we battle that. We have that, the Fred Flintstone, the devil on the shoulder, and then over here, the angel going, no, Wilma doesn't want you to do that. Oh, we'll never find out. But thank you.
That's kind of my mindset right now. Is I'm gonna put in the work. I know it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be an uphill grind, but I know one day. I know one day. Our shows and myself. We'll get there. We'll get to where we want to be. Eventually, one day I won't be late. I won't be sitting back here on my bed. I'll be in an actual studio and stuff like that. But yeah, 100% lazy. Yeah, you have to water the seeds for a long time for it to bear fruit.
You're building an audience,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the other thing I love, I don't know where I first heard it. It might have been Anthony Robbins, but he said, "Success leaves clues." So kind of figure out where you want to point this, and figure out the things to do. The other thing, I've always loved this. The really brilliant people in life can learn from other people's mistakes. They don't need to go through them. Right? Like a very observant person can go, okay, well, if I drink 32 beers a night and I end up in a coma, okay, that's what that looks like. Oh, maybe I should just stick to 5.
Yeah.
Right? Where with me, when I was younger and there was a lack of self-love at times, more was always better.
Yeah.
With food, and I did not have the ability when I was young to ever be compassionate to something someone else was going through. The world revolved around Michael, and I was very much in my teens. I really thought I was the greatest creation God ever made, and
that seems like all teenagers nowadays. That's just until they get about 23, 24.
And I was
until reality hits them.
And if you looked in the dictionary, you saw my picture under narcissist for sure. Right here, king.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you,
I
miss the delusion of that. I sometimes miss that delusional part of that. It's like little kids when you're a little bit. You're 3 years old. Nobody owns the mall. The mall's your mall.
Yeah.
The car's your car. The people are your people. Like the world is your oyster. And in that, there is no limitations. It isn't until we're older and we hear no, you don't do that. Click, I think for a very long time you heard no, and now you're hearing yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm hearing the yes from myself because I've always known, I've always had a big personality. I like to entertain. I like to engage with people. And when I'm out in public, I'm a social butterfly. If I'm home, for the most part, it's like, if I'm home and I'm not doing this, it's just, let me be a homebody. But if I'm out, and that's one thing I think Nikki enjoys about me. When we first started dating, she lived in PA and I was in Ohio, but every weekend I would go visit her. And we would hang out. She grew up in the same small town, and I think this was like the first time she's actually left. So everybody there, she knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody. And just to see how quickly I could engage and incorporate myself with her friends that she's been friends with her whole life, and become a part of their inner circle so quick. I think it's one of the things that she enjoys about me, because I can go out and I can have a good time and I can have fun and I can be friends with everybody. But that's just my personality. I have a big personality, and I've always wanted to entertain. So this is kind of my outlet. And then doing all the different shows, it allows people to see, look, I'm not just the same. I'm not the asshole that you see on Saturday night, cutting loose, having a good time with my friends. There's more to me. I'm well versed in a lot of different areas.
You're an onion.
So, like Shrek said, yeah, he's like an onion. Got layers.
Yeah. Chaka, is any of the stuff we talked about tonight uncomfortable, or you disagree with? I'm interested in knowing what you think.
No, I'm not uncomfortable with any of the conversations we had. I actually was going to bring up what Lazy what Shaman just said right here, because I was going to ask you earlier, why do you think that mindset of us being like indestructible and all that, like when we're younger, why do you think that goes away? And he kind of points it out right here, because you're programmed from a young age. The boundaries are set. He says the boundaries are set by others, like parents and teachers, etc., TV, stuff like that. but it does that. Why does that feeling fade away when you get older? Of course, we can learn from our mistakes and learn from that, but why does that feeling of being indestructible, being all that, go away? Why does it leave? Because we know the consequences. We've lived the consequences, and we don't want that something bad to happen. But still, it's, that feeling diminishes as you get older. Not everyone likes onions.
Gonna help.
Biologically, the reason we change is testosterone. And when a lot of professionals that are very successful have high testosterone levels, even in their 60s, 70s. Some people are hardwired for success. I think a lot of, in whatever you're in, you have to align to that vibration frequency that we were talking about before, the Nikola Tesla. Glick is starting to understand that there is a pattern. There's a flow. If you trust that something great is going to happen and you let the universe unfold it for you or orchestrate it for you, and you get out of the way, because when we're younger, we try to control everything, and then through pain we realize, a lot of times when I've asked for help and I've just trusted and let it unfold and not tried to force it, some of the best situations have happened in my life. And I'm noticing now synchronicities are happening. And I feel that Chakra, am I saying that right? Chaka?
Yeah.
I feel that there's, even within you, quantum awakenings coming. And you're starting to see it through a different lens. And you're going to wake up one day and you're going to see a brighter, not brighter, more. I remember one time when I was first starting to awaken when I was younger, and I woke up one morning and I looked and I'd seen I noticed details I'd never noticed in life before, because I was finally seeing what was unfolding in front of me instead of wanting to control everything around me to my favor. And when I realized that I was nothing in something, like we're that one little molecule of water. But if you're in the right flow in the stream, like think of the damage that water can do, right?
Oh,
if
yeah.
it's destructive. But think of also the healing elements of water. You can sit in a tub and you could sow then, in Glitz going, what the fuck are we doing here?
No. Because I agree. I'm as I'm getting a little bit older and stuff, I'm seeing things like that. But I've always kind of, I've always had the mindset of, shout out to Tony D. It used to drive him crazy when I would say this. It is what it is. I have no control. I just like Shaman said, focus on the goal, not the path. I had to learn that I can't control everything. Sometimes I just gotta let go of the steering wheel, and whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, good, bad, whatever, we're gonna learn from it, and I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna take my lesson, and I'm gonna move on, and hopefully I learn for the better. But it did take me a long time to learn. I'm not in control of this thing called life. Whether there's a higher being or the universe or whatever it is. I'm not in control. I'm here for the ride. I can control what I can control, and what I can't control, I just got to let go and hope for the best. MK said none of this stuff should be uncomfortable. This goes back to what you asked Chaka, Mike. None of this stuff should be uncomfortable. It should be normalized to talk about stuff that affects you in your life, negative or positively. And I agree 100%. I think that's kind of the whole point of this show and Monday nights is to make the uncomfortable comfortable.
Tim Brown, who's confident speaking, a dear friend of mine, and what he teaches his students, he says this all the time. He almost did it verbatim. He said, I want you to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And when you can learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, then you will enter into new realms of, possibilities, situations. Because a lot of times we fear looking stupid. We fear, people will take advantage of us. But when you get older, you realize that if you just trust and have some intuition, don't go in blind into anything. Kind of
Yeah.
like our friend here. I'm thinking about the room. Where's my exit point?
Yeah.
That I'm not saying turn off all life support systems, right? You need to breathe. We need oxygen. We need food. We need to dispel the harmful energies. Like you said, the blood in your stomach, it was making you toxic, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing in your life daily, sir, to make your life more pure, more enjoyable? What are some of the habits that you've developed?
So I guess meditation has been something that I've probably a couple months now, that before and after work especially is when I like to just go to the backyard and just meditate, and I don't know, flush out whatever crap has gone on yesterday and what might happen today. I kind of do that before and after work every day.
Okay. You're both of you, believe it or not, are in the key parts of your life in your development. Believe it or not, you're in the sweet spot of life. You really are. And think of all the stuff that you guys can get accomplished by the time you're 61. That's what I am now, embarking on 62. And this is such a magical time of opportunity. We have AI, we have Bitcoin. The world is really changing. The structures of life are changing. The way people view things, politics, right? The way we make money now, how we work. If you had said to someone in the 80s, there's a majority of people since the pandemic who are now working from home from all over the world. I have a friend, he's traveling now. I don't want to use his name, but his work is not aware that he was in Bali, the Philippines, while he was doing meetings. And they're like, where are you today? Oh, I have a client and I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But and his main thing, wherever he went, was he had to have world, like cutting edge Wi-Fi or cutting edge hardwired internet, because he didn't want to have any giveaways. And I've talked to him, and you'd swear he was like down the street. It was so clear. And they said, I picked this because I knew they had the best service.
Mm.
And he said, I
Yeah.
could have went to the other, and I can't. I still want to make money. But he is now living his life in different areas. And he'll send me all these dishes, and he go, I paid $3. I paid $2. This is the equivalent of $2.75. And it's like a plate of broccoli and bacon and chicken. And I was like, how much was that? And he goes, that was a little more. That was $4.25.
God, man, this is probably a big plate too.
Yeah. And he
Yeah.
said, but it's a different world.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, there are things here that are dangerous. And I said, what do you mean? He said, the women. He said, the women are dangerous here. He said, he said that they're all looking for the passage out of here. And he said, I have to be aware of that. And I said, well, you want to have kids? And he said, yeah, but I want them to have a mother. I don't want to. He's another one that wants to build an army. But I'm hoping in the future we can get him on here, because I've never met anybody that is wired like him. He has no fear at all. And he does programming. That's his life. He's really good at it. And because of that, there's always going to be work for him.
Yeah, that's what MK right here. He said that he moved to the forest that helped him a ton. He also has a wolf. Dude has a wolf.
That's awesome. That
I
is
gotta say what's
awesome.
with the old blue eyes in the chat. I see you. What's going on, man?
You have not promoted your channel at all, sir. Can you promote yours? Do you mind? Before Glick goes into all the shows that he has every week. Go ahead.
Well,
Sure.
I was actually going to ask both of you guys to do that because I was going to get ready and wrap this up, but I was going to
Yay!
say
Yeah.
open invitation for next Monday. I would love to keep the conversations flowing, and as I said, we do the open panel every Monday, and it's an invite for men, specifically for the men. Any man that wants to come up. Down the road, I would love to schedule guests if there's a female guest where we can schedule and that's in this world or something similar to it where we can sit down and talk to her. Down the road, we will do things where we invite women up here, even sometimes older kids, because I want to talk about how our mental well-being when we're going through it and when we're healing and when because I don't think I'll ever be 100% healed, but how our journey affects those people in our life. But we'll schedule those accordingly. But every other Monday will be an open panel. So yeah, definitely, Chaka, if you want to let everybody know where to find you,
Yeah.
and what you're doing over there, that way people can check you out as well.
Cool. So I started off originally it was a crypto channel. So I got a lot of crypto content, how-to videos on if you're ever curious about any kind of cryptocurrency. But lately have been doing, I call it the happy hour, which are just pop-up live streams, random different subjects every time. But I have a set show on Sundays called Sunday Shenanigans, where it's just hanging out on a Sunday Shenanigans. And talking to the chat and maybe watch a few videos. Fridays, the Lazy Shaman Show down there. We're hanging out on Friday. Every Fridays at 6 p.m. PST. Pretty much just hanging out. So if you guys want to stop by, more than welcome.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to double check and make sure I'm following you because I'm pretty sure I am. But I want to make sure. I'm over here talking all kinds of nonsense. It's like, am I actually following him?
And I'm digging this Monday stream that you got going on, man. It's really nice.
I appreciate that. I'm really glad other guys are digging it, and I'm loving the fact that Mike's been coming up. I told you Saturday you are always welcome to. There we go. Turn that bell on. Yep, I was following you. And I'm gonna start checking out your channel as well. Like I said, I usually at work. If I don't catch the live, when I'm at work, I'm on the forklift or I'm doing whatever. I got my earbud in and I'm listening to different shows, different podcasts. Mike keeps me entertained with his AI music. I don't get to chat as much as I would like to because I'm usually doing something, but I'll usually throw it on live and listen to the AI music. So I'll definitely be checking out the channel more and
Cool.
trying to pop in when I can. What about yourself, Mike? Where can everybody find you at?
I have a show I'm on daily for 2 hours, and we play a mixture of AI music, spirituality, and football insights. We have people from all over the world that come on. We get some woo-woo guests. We had Danica on the other day. I've tried to have Glick on, but I think Glick feels like he might grow some fairy wings or something and fly away. So he's a little worried. He's like he doesn't want to put his toe in the spiritual pond with all the others. You know what's funny about spiritual people? They have the biggest egos in the universe. I swear to God, because there's even in that world where we're supposed to all be balanced and enlightened, and there is major ego problems that go on. So I've always been kind of the peacekeeper in that. I love what I do. I love contributing to other shows. One of the other shows that I do, and I try to help out Tony D, and he tries to help me out. And we've been doing it for a little while. I know I drive him around the bend, and he drives me, around the bend sometimes. But we have good banter, and it's on Sundays at 10:30, and Rich Roberts is on it as well. Sometimes we have Ted Hicks, but it's all about football and fantasy football. And I sometimes will put a sprinkle of insanity in it, and
you drive that man crazy, and I love it. I'm here for it.
but that's what people come in to see. I love this show. I'm hoping that we, especially us three and Connor, I think this is a really strong panel, and we have diverse, different audiences that will benefit from this. And I know it's so funny. I got to tell you a quick story before I go on. I think you'll like this. So there's this one woman, she reads energy, and I don't know if I should use her name, but we were doing our football show, right? We were doing our football show, and she is, her name is Simone. I'll just say that. And she has people from all over the world that travel to see her. And she's a big deal. She really is a big deal. And Tony is in the room, and I'm doing a football show. We're just doing football. And Tony, I swear to God, has this face. And I can see him going, who's this? And she comes into the room, and she's just this beacon of light, right? Knows nothing about football, hijacks the show. And I look at Tony like, and I said to him, Tony, she's important to me, so calm down. And he's like, well, and you can hear him under his breath, right? Within 10 minutes, our comments were nonstop with her audience, plus our audience. And all the football people were like, Tony, let her speak. She's good people.
Nice. That's awesome.
But that's the ability that people have when their energy is far reaching. And I'm hoping that I can have 10% of that someday. Right? That's what I'm hoping. Whatever magic Muju dust she has on her, if some of it can just, what was it? The Green Mile? Do you remember the Green Mile? He shook his hand, and he ended up living forever. Do you remember Tom Hanks's character?
Oh yeah.
And when whatever, and I that's what I'm hoping, that when people come into this room, it opens a door, and then they share with maybe their families or their father, or their mother, their brother, stuff that's been bothering them forever. And then we heal some families a little bit, or make the first steps. And that's what I'm hoping in here is that we can make it more normalized that three kind of strange idiots get together and talk about mental health. And another one, I think his name's Connor. He's not an idiot though. Honestly, I think if you tested him, I bet he's Mensa. He has a lot of traits of a Mensa guy. I love when he did the mic drop. And thank you, motherfuckers.
You were speaking of the spectrum earlier. Yeah, he's on that spectrum.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. The True Glick, part 2. All right. Do you want to wrap up what you're doing? Then we'll talk in the green room.
If you guys wouldn't mind hanging out for a second, I want to close out with a song, and then just real quick before I do that, and then I just want to get like a closing thought or quote or something from you guys, and then we'll get the hell out of here. Of course, we got our shows here on the network Monday through Sunday. Mondays, Men Caring for Men Mental Health Show with the open panel. Direct invitation for all men to join us if you'd like. Tuesdays is Glick's House of Music. Tomorrow night, I'll be hanging out with Miss Katrina Bree. I think she's from Vegas too. So all the way from Vegas, she'll be joining me. I'm just hanging out with up and coming artists, and we're getting to know them and hear a little bit of their music. Wednesdays is WTF News. If it's in the news and it makes us say, what the fuck, we're going to talk about it. It's usually, it's lighthearted. It's fun. It's comedy based. We're having a good time with it. Every other Thursday, my son and I get together and do a little wrestling podcast. We mainly talk WWE. I do enjoy doing the show with my son. I'm glad that he's got the bug. He's a little bit harder to keep his attention for an hour, so sometimes the show gets a little off the rails. But he's 11, so he wants to be outside with his friends or anything else. Fridays is Blaze and Jeff doing Nonsense and Chill. They're watching movies and talking about them and having fun. Saturdays is Nonsensical Nonsense. That is the flagship show. It is unhinged, unapologetic. We're just having a good time hanging out, talking about whatever we want to talk about. That is also an open panel. We call it the Open Door Challenge. Link's always in the chat. You guys are more than welcome to come up and hang out with us. And then Sundays, we got Unnecessary Roughness, the kickoff to kickoff. We usually go into right around halftime of the first game of the afternoon. We're talking football. We're making our predictions. We're making our picks. Just guys hanging out, talking a little football, having fun. That's myself, Rick, Cam, and former guest of Glick's House of Music, Derek Wayne Douglas, who check him out, Derek Wayne Douglas everywhere. He just had a new song that dropped last Friday, and he's got another new song that's coming out this Friday. So he's a busy guy in the studios. And then every once in a while on Sundays is Jeff's Garage. And you can find all those at bio.link/nonsensical network. All of our social media is there. We're live 7 days a week doing something. But we're having fun. Speaking of former guests, I want to do one last song here. It is by Bree, and she's awesome. She is an amazing little rock star. This song is called Monster in My Head. And we will be right back with our closing thoughts.
A demon likes to mess with my mind. She shows up in my dreams. Don't go to sleep next to me, or you'll wake up to my screams. Won't show herself in the day, but I'm never left alone. And when she comes, I try to run, but there's nowhere left to go. The monster in my head won't come out under my bed. She hides from me. The monster in my head, oh, she wants me dead. She lies to me. Tell me, girl, you've had enough. You'll never be loved. You should quit while you're ahead. Oh, I'm tired of the fight that keeps me up at night with the monster in my head. It's been like this since I was young. I've always known her face. She's never far, but when I look, she'll vanish without a trace. Her whisper sounds like my voice, but the message is so loud. Years are spent when she's hell-bent on trying to take me out. The monster in my head won't come out under my bed. She hides from me, hides from me. The monster in my head, oh, she wants me dead. She lies to me, lies to me. And tell me, girl, you've had enough. You'll never be loved. You should quit while you're ahead. Oh, I'm tired of the fight that keeps me up at night with the monster in my head. You can wail, you can scream, but you'll never take mine. The monster in my head won't come out under my bed. She's scared of me. The monster in my head, oh, she wants me dead. I don't care, 'cause I've been through enough. I'm never giving up. I will win while I'm ahead. Hey, I'm strong enough to fight. The dark will face the light till the monster in my head.
Wow.
I think we can all relate to the monsters in our head. That's Miss Bree. You can find her on all the socials and everywhere you listen to music at Bree Music. Give her some love. She's awesome. Get these buttons to work here. I do want to thank everybody who was listening tonight, everybody who hung out, especially our panel. Connor, of course, he's always here with me. He's all right. These guys like him. Wait till you get to know him a little better. I'm just kidding. I love Connor. He's like a brother to me. Shout out to Chaka and Bathurst. Definitely enjoyed chatting with you guys. and everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all. Replay viewers, thanks for hanging out and checking us out. And with that being said, Bathurst, you got anything you want to say before we call it a night?
Sure.
A final thought.
A final thought. A minute or less. We'll do it. We'll do it concise. Always be aware of the people that add value to your life. Right? Make sure you hold those people close and sacred. And if you value that person, make sure you tell them. You know, if it's your significant other or it's your children or your mother, your father, they may not be on this planet forever. So make the most of it. I miss my mom every day. I lost her this year. I didn't realize how much she was a grounding force in my life and how much I need that. And I know that I can connect to her through the other realms, but it was nice having her looniness on this planet. But she suffered a lot the last couple of years, and I really wanted her suffering to end. But then when she was gone, I really realized how much I depended on her for just basic things. And you know, if you had said that to me a year ago, I would have went, "What a bunch of Manui, you're a friggin' lunatic." But so we all have within our lives, all three of us, it sounds like, really strong women and intelligent women who sometimes maybe do know what's best for us. Not always. So we have to be open to listening. And that's it. Thank you.
100%. What about you, Chaka? You got a final thought or anything you want to leave everybody with?
Yeah, men's mental health. It's not talked about enough, and it should be. So hopefully we see more and more people here on Mondays, because I think this is very, very helpful. And also remember, there is always hope, even when your brain tells you that there isn't. So this is a great show.
Oh, definitely. Nice. And like I always say every Monday night before I get out of here, a successful man is one who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks that others have thrown at him. And we're building over here. So I want to see all you guys out there building as well. Build along with me. We'll build a community. We do appreciate y'all listening. We'll see you guys next Monday. Tune in tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Glick's House of Music. I'll be hanging out with Katrina, and we'll be getting to know her a little bit better. Until then, later.